Hi there, Joga here from A Pocket Full of Happiness, and I would like to show you the new products that are now available in the shop. At the time I'm doing this video, I don't have the dies yet, so I'm only going to be able to show you the samples that I have, so you will not see the packaging, but I hope that that's not a big issue. I really had to work ahead because we are going on holiday, and yeah, I just didn't want to leave this for the last moment. But I do have the stamp sets, and the first one that I want to show you is called New Wave Background Builder. And as always, on the back of the packaging, you will see some graphic that will show you some examples how you could or what kind of patterns you can make. But these are just examples. You can totally do other things with it as well. So there's this big stamp in the set that has 4 waves on it, and then you can build a full background with that. Or there is a single wave if you want to do a different kind of design. And then there is a few sentiments that are all curved differently, so they fit on different parts of the waves, so you have a bit of a room to play with that. And I'm gonna show you some samples. This one here is a fully stamped background that I use the large stamp for. So you can see how many colors repeat. And what you have to make sure that when you line up the stamp, you have to leave a little bit of white space, like a hair. Well, if you look at this stamping, it's not all that great. I did not, well, I was being very fast, if I have to be honest. And so I did not really care how I lined it up, but you can line that up better. Just make sure there's a bit of white space in between. Here I only stamped 4 colors actually. The 4th you don't see because I covered it up with a die that you will see later in the video as well. Now, the second stamp set is called the Retro Petals Background Builder. There's a lot of ways you can use this stamp set to build different patterns. For example, here on the right, there is 3 stamps that you can layer to create one of these rows. And then you can do random colors, or you can layer the colors the same way as you did in the first row. It's all up to you. And then this part is, or the left one is built with another stamp in the stamp set, this one here. And then the first or the top 3 were the ones that I used for the right hand side card. And now there's also a piece of, well, just squares that you can stamp with, or just one single pattern if you want to use more colors. There's a lot of options with this set. And then there's also a sentiment. I'm going to show you some some stamp panels. These I didn't turn into cards yet. This one here is the same as what you have on the back of the packaging. Basically, I just use different colors. And then this one is like the other one on the packaging, stamped with the 3 separate stamps there and layered together. And here I actually use the same I thought, yeah, I use the same colors in every row. And then I also use the small stamp set, the small petal, to add some accents here and there, those dark green petals. Then I also wanted to show you what the squares look like. and then I use the single flower shape there to stamp different colors on top of the squares. And you can see these colors are a bit more muted because they were not stamped onto white background. Now, this one is another background that I created with this stamp set. And I also used some die cut pieces to add some texture and dimension and interest to this background. This die is also coming up in this video. It's also called Retro Petal Background. Now, the third stamp set is a German sentiment set called Für jeden Anlass. This is actually similar to the Everyday Sentiment set. That was a small set. This one is big. All three stamp sets are A5 European size. This is about 6 by 8 inch. It's similar to that size. Now, these are the sentiments. I stamped them on white cardstock, and then also I embossed black cardstock with white embossing powder. And I actually just added some double-sided adhesive to the whole backing sheet on that stamp set, and then I stamped all these at once, so it goes quicker. You know, if you want to grab a sentiment, for example, a sentiment strip, but obviously you can also just stamp them one by one. Now, moving on to the dies, the first one is called Sun is for Life, and then we have these fun sunglasses and sentiment, aloha, and a smaller palm tree. I created a few cards with this set. The first one here, I added the palm tree to both glasses, and I used a different pattern in the two. But you could use the same pattern, obviously. You could use just the stripes, or you could use just the circles. Now, this is the sentiment die, or letters, basically. And you can see it's a 2-for-1, so you can use the shadow separately and just the inside of the letters. I die cut them from brown and from white cardstock, and then I could create two sentiments with that. And now this one here, obviously, because I needed so many colors for my circles and stripes, I had a bunch of these sunglasses left, so I just layered them up and offset them, and the same with the palm trees. This last one, I also had a lot of the circles left from all the die cutting, and I did not want to throw them away, so I just created this simple card. By the way, there's going to be process videos with all of the dies and all of the stamp sets on the channel today, so check them out if you want to see them in action. This one is oops a little bit late, so I think something that a lot of us can relate to. It's one of those sentiment dies that I always create. It's a little bit smaller than the thank you and hey there dies, for example, but it's the same font and it works exactly the same way. You will see it in one of the videos at least, how I put these sentiments together. Now, next one is the sunflower border. There's an outline die and the backing die, and then there's these two different little dies that you can use for flower center, and you will see the different ways on these cards here. This one is actually it's something that you could bend up to create some dimension. Those are just cut lines. I did not do it, but that was my original idea. And then I used the outlines here that I had left over from these two cards. because as you can see, I used two different yellows here, so I had all those outline die cuts left, and I did not want to waste them. So this is the second design for the center of the sunflower, just so that you have a bit more options there. Now, this is the retro petals background. This is a die that doesn't have an edge that would cut you an A2 size. This is not exactly A2 because the pattern is, it did not look right, you know, if I try to create it in an exact 4¼ by 5½ inch. But that was actually, I didn't mind because I wanted a die that you can use on any size cards, and these are 5×7. I really like this size lately, so I wanted to make sure that I have some dies that I can use with those. And these die actually doesn't work with the stamp set. So what I mean by that is that the spacing on the die is different from the stamp set, but obviously you can use the single die cut shapes to layer over the stamped image, for example. Here I just filled in some of the petals randomly. Here, the white ones I added back on foam tape to create some dimension. It's a lot of fun, and you can really create a lot of patterns with it. And you can also not put any of these shapes back, and then you have all those squares in your background. You might want to just add one color behind all of it. So there's a lot of options there. So this is what I mean with the stamp set. You cannot stamp this perfectly. I did not try, but I don't think you can just stamp it as perfectly as the die is. But there's not it's not the same amount of white space in between anyway. Okay, so that summer feeling is the next one. There's a small aloha die that I actually intended for the surfboard. And then there is this circle that you can use together or separately. Then there is mahalo, the letters for mahalo, and there's actually, you can also create aloha from that one. And then there's a palm tree and a hibiscus flower. So these are the two cards I made with this set. Again, you see that the sentiment is the same concept here. It's 2 for 1. And then on this one, I used both the circles to create like a layering piece basically. And here I die cut. I did not use the outline circle, so I just die cut the stripes into the panel. And the surfboards as well, I just die cut from 3 colors and then mixed and matched them. Now the new wave die is actually 5×7, so all of you who love that size can create with this, but obviously you can trim it to any size you want. And this one works with the new wave pattern builder stamp set. As you can see, it's the exact same shape, the same size. And here I left some white space, but layered the other waves. And then here, this I already showed you, this is stamped. And then on the last or the bottom waves, I put 2 layers of die cuts. Here I did not leave any white space in between the waves. And then I just trimmed it down on the side so that I have a bit of a white edge around it. And this one I messed up because I cut my finger. I did not notice and I bled on that. So I just wanted to show you that there's so many patterns you can create. This one I will just maybe use to die cut something from. I did not want to throw it away. Then moving on, the next one is a German sentiment that is exactly the same as the oops, a little bit late, but then in German, it's also the same font, works the same way as you are already used to. Here is an example with it. And again, you can use just the outline or just the skinny letters. There's a bunch of ways that you can use this die. I did use it the same way. This is my favorite way to use it. Now there's another background, the leafy background, which is again something that you can use on various different size panels. You can see that the side will not cut out completely. That will be like a partial cut that you can then shape. And then these 4 leaves in the middle, those will fall out. I'm going to show you some samples with it. So here I glued back even the fallout, those 4 leaves that fall out, and then just fill them with different colors. And then on another card, I did not fill the 4 leaves, and also I only glued down the color pieces here, as you can see, so that there's some movement on the card. You can bend up those leaves because obviously the parts of them are connected. And then the middle ones I only glued down in a small spot and did not add back color so that the sentiment stands out. And on this one, I used all the fallout pieces that I had left over from the color cardstock, and I created this colorful background with that. Again, with all these all these cards that I'm showing you are in process videos that are available on the channel. Now, this one is another A2 die that you can use on any size panel. It's called Pierce Petal Background. It partly will cut, and some parts will just be pierced, as you can see here. And then, again, you know that I like these kind of dies the most, where really you can add a lot of colors. And it's simple. This one is actually very fast. I created the 2 cards at the same time with the same colors, just different arrangements. And also with this, you don't have to die cut the whole panel from the colors. Just sections are enough, because you will only, it's the same shape everywhere, and you will only use a few of them at a time. And then here we are at the last die. This one is called For You, and it's very similar to the German set I already have. A little bit smaller. There's less options here than in the German one. There's just because, all the best, thank you, good luck, get well, for you, and then congrats. Maybe you can come up with something else as well, or maybe longer sentiments. But again, this is the same font. It's a small die, and I will show you a few examples here. Some of them you already saw, sorry. This is For You. Then there is another For You here. Get well. Then All the Best. Then there is Just Because. Then there is Good Luck as an example. And then I think I also had congrats here. I think I just didn't do thank you as far as I remember, but you can imagine that's also very similar. So that is it for today. These are all the products. I hope you like them. I do have some information that I wanted to mention here. As I said, I don't have the dies yet. I have no idea when I'm getting them. I have so many shipping issues lately, and again, they are delayed. So I'm hoping that they will be here before I go on holiday. But either way, you will be able to order until like Saturday morning, maybe, so I can pack up everything on Saturday and a friend of mine can drop everything off on Monday. And then after that, I'm only back in September, so you can order during this time, but there will not be shipping in August anymore. So not after the 8th of August, but so that will be the last shipping date, but that will be done by friends. So ideally, your orders should come in on Friday or latest my morning, that is Central European time, sometime until like midday Saturday, which is, I believe, the 6th of August. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to ship the packages. All the information is available on my website as well as Instagram, so you can check it out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm wishing you a wonderful summer. See you in September. Bye bye.